Morning, welcome to New Horizon Yachts. What I thought about doing is giving you a little bit of a guidance on buying a used boat. So if you're new to boating, or even if you're not, things you do know, things you don't know, might help you in buying your new or your next boat. So things that we need to look for when we're looking at a boat. Firstly, the first impressions always count. So, is the boat clean? Is it dirty? Does it look like it's been touched in a long time? Most good boat owners will be tentative to their boats. They will go down, wash them, look after them, make sure they're clean and tidy and presentable. And that's good housekeeping, to be honest, where boats are concerned. So that's the first thing you need to look for. Secondly, when you're going to look at a boat and you arrange with whoever to go down and view it, whether it be with a broker or whether it be with the person themselves who own the boat, ask as many questions as you can. Don't be afraid to ask. If you're not sure what to ask, take somebody along with you who knows a little bit about boats and can ask the appropriate questions. So moving into the boat, things we need to look for to make sure this is a good boat. So we could ask, do they have records, maintenance records on the boat? It's another good indication that the boat's been looked after. If the boat's got a good service history and a record of all of its maintenance and it's been kept in a proper manner, it's always a good sign that you're buying into a good boat. Secondly, digging beneath the dirt, if there is dirt on the boat, because let's face it, boats become for sale for a lot of reasons. And it could be somebody's passed away, it could be that they've not been able to use the boat because of illness or physical disability they've got. So we need to scratch beneath the surface of that. So looking around, starting on the outside of the boat, we need to look around the hull and the deck, look at the gel coat, which is the shiny surface of the boat, just to make sure there's no cracks anywhere, any deck fittings that are fitted, that they're secure and there's no cracks coming from those where they're secured to the decks, because they're always signs that it's had an impact of some sort. So these things you need to look out for. Also moving on to the boat, to look at the interior. Is the interior clean and tidy? Again, good housekeeping if it's clean. And then normally on a boat you'll have inspection hatches which go down into the bilges of the boat. Don't be afraid to open these hatches and to look inside. You really need to see what's going on beneath the surface of the boat. So a good indication is lift up all the hatches. Is there any water in there? Is there any oil in there? Is there any fuel in there? These things will lead to you understanding what's going on with this boat. So also looking around the boat, what equipment has the boat got? Has it got the right equipment for you? Has it got the right GPS? Has it got a radar? Do you need a radar? All these little things that you've got on your tick list that you want for your boat, just check that it's got them and they're functioning correctly. Look at the electrics. Are the electrics in good working order? Does everything work? Does all the lighting work? Most importantly, navigation lights, things that you're going to need when you're at sea. Moving on to the heart of most boats is the engine. So if we look into the engine bay, you don't have to be a mechanic to realise what condition an engine's in on first glance. Okay, you can't go in depth into it like an engineer would. You'd move on to that at a later point. But looking at the engine, looking at all the hoses and fittings and that, is there any corrosion? Is the paint flaking off? Is there any oil round the engine? Is there a strong smell of diesel round the engine? Are the belts worn? Are they loose? A lot of things that you can do yourself to check that those things are in good condition. Gives you a first indication. Also on boats you have seacocks. Seacocks go through the skin of the hull to draw the water in for the engine and for other items that you might have on board, i.e. the toilets or the heads. So we need to check that the seacocks operate. So just turn them on and off. If they're really hard, and in some cases they're seized, you'll know they'll need replacing. Also look around the seacocks to make sure that there's no corrosion to the seacock. A lot of the old ones they use, a lot of the brass ones do suffer. They become corroded and they become brittle and they can break away. And when you're at sea, if that seacock breaks away and comes loose, you're left with a bit of a problem. So always ensure that those are in good condition. So check the engine ones, check any drains for decks that have seacocks fitted, check the head compartment, seacocks, are they in good working order? Does the head pump? All these little things add up to costing you money when you buy them and then you find them. Obviously, moving on through the purchase of the boat, you would get a survey done for the boat. Now, you don't have to get a survey done, but it just makes sense to get a survey done for your peace of mind. And also, a survey will be required of some sort for your insurance. So make sure you get it surveyed, it lifted out, cleaned off and surveyed. The surveyor will go around checking the bottom of the hull, scraping a bit of the antifoul off periodically just to check for any osmosis on the hull. Osmosis on fiberglass, can be an issue, and if you see signs of bubbling on the fiberglass on the hull or any part of the fiberglass work, then you need to get that checked out by a surveyor. So once you've done all of this and you're happy with the boat, you've looked around, you've asked all the questions, you've got the paperwork, you've got the survey done on the boat, survey comes back good. You need to negotiate and come to a price. Now, if there are any works to be carried out for your boat, then you need to discuss that with the current owner and see if he's prepared to negotiate on that, because it's going to cost you money. Okay, if it's a cheap boat, a couple of £1,000, it's a bit difficult to do that. You're probably going to be expected to do those bits yourself, because that's why it's priced as low as it is. So we've got to be realistic in our expectations of what we find. I hope this has given you a little bit of a grounding, but always leave it to the professionals to give you sound advice on buying your boat and even selling your boat. That's why we as brokers exist. We're not professionals of everything, but we will get people who are to look at certain areas of the boat. So before going ahead and buying a boat, think of these things. Might save you a bit of money and definitely a lot of grief. Thank you.